I will. It's amazing how you blame white people when they're the ones that saved your asses.
Oh, okay. Stop right there. What's your?
And the
Hold on,
reason why
hold
you.
on. Stop,
Mhm,
stop. Hey, calm
mhm.
down, calm down.
Well, we weren't even talking about you right now, but we can start.
Well, you're always talking about us.
Okay.
Sir, this is a black space, and you're concerned with it. But in this beautiful black space, we have a
Mhm.
tradition. Since you're a visitor, I have to ask, what's your lineage?
What's your ethnicity?
Jewish.
What's your 1639. We came over from the
If that's true, you're probably 10% black.
Scandinavian
A lot of those broads went up to the
territories,
Appalachians with
and my
black men.
ancestors are Sami. They're Sami
Sir,
people. 8,000 years
I'm a
ago.
licensed historian. I don't have any recollection of Scandinavians coming over here in 1669.
1639, my friend.
Yeah, excuse me. I don't have any recollection of that either.
Now,
Well, your
saying you're
recollection
Inuit?
wouldn't go that far back because you were
Is
born.
he saying that he's Sami, an Inuit?
I'm not
Over
sure what
there?
he's saying.
Well, I'm saying that the only reason you're allowed to speak freely is because we buried 35,000 British. What I'm saying.
We fought all of those people that you're battling. So.
I don't think he knows what he's
Yeah,
talking
and you're
about.
the only
Well, you
reason
better go
walk
talk
free
to
is
Abraham Lincoln's quotes that credit us with winning the Civil War. Go talk to those quotes.
Yeah, 320,000.
Yeah, you didn't do anything. We did.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
just bullshitters. That's what you are.
You're not a good arguer.
So you're arguing that in 1639, Scandinavians were in the 13 colonies? Okay, let me entertain you. Which colony were your people in, sir?
Well, let me help him.
We landed. We were a captain on the boat.
Let me do it for you. They had.
You're gonna need to censor me.
Hold on.
They had a colony.
You're gonna need to censor me because you don't know where you're from, do you?
They had a colony in Sussex, Delaware.
You had a colony? Well, we had a colony in Connecticut.
Dumbass, I'm removing you so I can talk. The Scandinavian people, or what you call Swedish people, they had a colony in Delaware, in Sussex, Delaware. Mm-hmm. And they blended in with all of the black people and two types of Native Americans, according to the book. Delaware's Forgotten Folk. Oh, also, other Scandinavians were here, and those Northern European women could not stop grabbing a black man.
Yeah, that's true.
Running off into a triracial community, which they created with the black man and other people over there. They could not get enough. So that's why you really don't see them like that, because they blended themselves in. Just like you're not going to see a whole bunch of Swedish people in Delaware because they're mixed.
Oh.
They're all light-skinned black people in that area because of that.
I tell you, history erases the mystery. Wani, I didn't know that, and that explains 999, whatever the hell his name was, his anger, because his broads ran after a black man.
They sure did, and they still do it to this day. That's what's so dangerous about dropping off all these black men and swarthy men and military men. Whenever they show up, those women wrap their legs around them. I mean, they're like super, super crazy about doing it. And yet they will maintain their racist position and raise up racist children. But literally, they will run up on a Caribbean, they'll run up on an African, they will run up on a serviceman in a hot minute and brag about it.
Yep.
In fact, a very popular, and this girl does lectures, a very popular SS man's daughter humped on a black man. I forget what kind of black man it was, whether it was an African or a black American, I can't remember. Anyway, they made a daughter. Of course, the SS father didn't like that, so she had to get rid of this child. But she still kept in contact with her German white mother with an SS father, and she did some interviews. She's like a European melanated person. And she does interviews about the fact that her grandfather is an SS person who's responsible for murdering millions of people, and how they can't stay away. No matter what they say, their women they're gonna produce melanated children. And that's what's so dangerous, because the argument isn't really that these men are over there and they're going to take their women. Their women are very interested in these other types of men for whatever reason. Sometimes it's revenge, sometimes they're just curious, sometimes they heard some gossip that's true, and they just want to check it out.
And therein lies the jealousy. History erases the mystery. All right, I think I'm mentally prepared for Dan Quay.
I'm not. But yes, the biological issues between, first of all, I have never met a woman that didn't ask me a question about Black men. I mean, women from other backgrounds. They're very interested. And they'll try to tell me about their men. Oh, yeah, the Arab men are hot. And I'm like, whatever. But the whole time, they know they're lying to me. They know that I don't believe them. And there's no rumors going around that Arab men are hot. That's not a rumor. The rumor is that they slap you upside the head and take your kids back to the Middle East if you have them with them over here. That's what they're known for. Women are terrible gossips. And if you were actually doing anything hot, they would let everyone know about it. And no one's saying anything. They're only talking about Black American men. Wow. That's the only men they gossip. That's the only men they gossip about.
There's a great book by Lerone Bennett. Lerone Bennett is one of our forgotten brothers. He founded, I want to say, Jet Magazine. But Lerone wrote a real beautiful piece of scholarship that called The Shaping of Black America, which is it's hard to find, and it's disappearing off shelves of libraries all across the country. In fact, the historical Black colleges, they have to keep it in special collections under lock and key. When I was at a historical Black college in Memphis, there was a white lady who would show up in the libraries, and these books would come up missing when she would visit special collections. But I digress. In The Shaping of Black America, Lerone Bennett points out that, like 999 was saying, in the 1600s, when Europeans came over on the boats in the Virginia colony, named after the Queen's virginity that she bragged about. What was that about? But I digress. The white fathers would prefer to marry their own daughters off to Black men to create more athletic grandchildren who were more useful on the farm. What I'm trying to say is, in the 1600s, America was egalitarian. Race was not an issue. Colorism was not a thing. Colorism was inserted later on and codified by the Maryland colony, which created the Edict of 1638 that made sure that Black people were doomed to servitude and slavery ad infinitum. What I'm trying to say is, somebody got jealous and decided that Black men wasn't going to get access to white women anymore. I think that's what this is all about.
Well, it's definitely based on some deep biological issues. We already know that there's a deep, deep jealousy. And can you imagine you're with a woman, and men and women are very insecure and they have low self-esteem, even though they pretend that they don't? No one can really be very confident. How could you be confident spinning on a ball, not knowing what's going on? Anyway, you have to, it's a contest to see who can fake being confident and fake having high self-esteem. Men already have this fear that another man is better than them. But imagine knowing that other men are better.
Whoa.
Do you know that they're better? And you have to live with that, thinking, does my woman really want to be with that person? You're not on the top of the food chain in that sense. You're thinking, would she want to be, with this other type of guy? it's different for black women because black men are not saying, do I want to be with a black guy? I'm already with him. But these other men are thinking that. And then what makes it worse, they'll see their women with those men. And then that, that only makes it worse.
Well, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing says that that's a deep genetic fear, because of the dominant, anybody who's taken 10th grade biology, melanated genes, black genes are dominant. I didn't say better, I said dominant. And Caucasian or quote unquote white genes are recessive. So if you look at things from a genetic standpoint, one could perceive dominance as superiority. Would I say dominance is superiority? Actually, I would, because if the black gene overpowers the white gene, there is some implication that, in some sense, it's stronger, hence dominant. What's your thoughts on this, Dan Quay?
You probably fell asleep.
Thanks. Good evening. I wanted to address the religious conversation, so it's a little bit.
No, go back. I saw your tweet. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. So, do you guys think that religion in itself is kind of bad and kind of hypocritical?
Would you describe what religion is? You mean like
it's a belief system?
Okay, so these religions start off good, like do this, do that, be good, don't be bad. They all have the same basic things that are generally helpful for people to live, a lifestyle type of assistance. But the organizations seem to have the problem. Just like with Buddhism, you read the book, it's like, oh, don't do this, don't do that, follow this belief system, all these nice, peaceful quotes. But we're speaking about people like the Dalai Lama that sexually abuse children right in front of everybody's face because they're so used to doing it, and having a whole culture of dancing boys to come perform for them. And then later those dancing boys write books about how they were anally probed. So it seems to be when people get in a group and in an organization, and it always ends up with some little boy getting raped for some reason. That's the same mind. Someone coming up with that idea, demons, is asking for someone to do this same act over and over and over again for thousands. How many years do we need to rape little boys? They've been doing this since the castrati. They used to take these boys, castrate them, and turn them into whatever. And back in the Greco-Roman Empire, people just turning their children over to perverts. If you go further back, and even at the same time, you have the dancing boy culture where little boys are used as proxy for women because the women aren't allowed to go outside or do anything or be social or whatever the drawbacks are, or the hold up on their ability to be social is, they're not allowed to participate. And whatever that is, whatever keeps creeping into these religions is pure evil. So the religion itself on its face may have good ideas, but then when men get into organizations and women get into these organizations, it all of a sudden becomes very corrupt.
Well, Jordan Maxwell said something very dangerous. Jordan Maxwell said that religions are a branch of the government. And when Jordan said that, I thought about the hierarchical structure of monarchy in England, across the world really, but it's really clear. It's clear to see in the English monarchy. At the top, you have the king and the queen. Right below the king and queen, you have the nobles, right? The noble class. Now, if you break down the noble class, you have different categories of nobles. You have lords, ladies, dukes, duchesses, who am I leaving out? Esquires. But the one branch of nobility that we often forget is the priest class. Religious leaders are included in the nobility function of the government. So basically, Jordan was saying that a lot of religions, maybe most, if not all, have been co-opted by a government structure and used to facilitate cohesion in the government. Scholars have pointed out, numerous historians have pointed out, that if you think about the join or die letter written by Benjamin Franklin, like I was saying earlier, to join together the slave colonies, the slave owning colonies under in the 13 colonies, because they were being attacked by runaway black slaves and native black Indians. After we forced them to coalesce and forced, and again I do say forced, Benjamin Franklin to call the first constitutional convention so that that slave owner nobility class could coalesce and form the Constitution, thereby forming the country. If you think about it from that standpoint, many historians say that religion was used for control. Dr. Howard Zinn says that in his book. He says that once they coalesced a country, which became the United States, they had to come up with ideologies to keep all the colonies on the same page, because they weren't on the same page, namely because the Articles of Confederation were weak. But I do believe, I don't believe, I know there's a creator. You can call him God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the all, the one force. I don't think that matters so much. But religion, according to Dr. Howard Zinn and many other historians, was used to facilitate cohesion amongst the colonies, which supports what Jordan Maxwell said: religion is a branch of government.
Now, did that answer your question, Dan, or would you like to follow up?
It answered some questions that I had, but not exactly what I was asking.
Are you thinking of getting into, some Eastern religions?
No, I think there are some parallels between Taoism, Shintoism, with what I already believe. So I don't think there's a need for me to. Excuse me.
What did you believe?
Just
What's the name of it?
in there being a creator with attributes.
Wow, that's original.
I mean,
it's creator with attributes. That's it? A creator with attributes?
With different attributes that I also possess.
Okay, and you're relating that to, that's the same thing as all the religions believe in something with attributes.
No. What I'm saying is that
who doesn't believe
that there are different ways to honor these
gods and goddesses with attributes. Who doesn't believe in there's something above us with an attribute? Tell us about it.
Okay, let me put it like this. Christians or the Abrahamic religions believe, well, it's really since the Zoroastrians, but they believe in good and evil. And from my belief system, I don't really see things in that way.
You don't believe in evil?
I don't believe good and evil are two separate things.
Okay.
You got to explain that.
There is good and evil, right?
Yeah, they
So exist. You believe in good and evil?
They are.
What's next?
Different degrees of the same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So that's my belief system. If you look at everything in the world, in the universe.
Well, that's what we're talking about. They keep saying these Canaanite gods are naughty and bad and terrible.
The Canaanites.
They're telling us to worship one of them. And he's good now.
Exactly. So that's the paradox.
What's the deal?
That's the paradox in it. I mean, okay, when I used to be Christian at some point in time, I left Christianity because all the things that I had an issue with, that I would ask pastors about, would always trace back to Paul. So I started believing that Paul was like the Antichrist. And the more research I did about Paul, the more I realized like Paul is kind of a shady figure. He never met Jesus. He started saying things that like directly contradicted a lot of the teachings of Jesus. He's the one who started saying that, oh, it's okay if you eat meat that's sacrificed to another god. Meanwhile, Jesus directly said the opposite. He's the one who said to the Romans that they don't have to circumcise themselves and all that stuff. So he's the one who kind of introduced that notion of syncretism. So like infusing the paganism from your previous religion into Christianity. And that's why Catholicism today has so much Roman and, pagan remnants, if you will. So,
well, they never could get rid of them because these things were done for centuries, or
exactly,
and they're not going to change these festivals.
Exactly, but that's not what Jesus taught.
What do you mean? No, he did go against. Yeah, I agree. He went against Jesus, but Prophet Muhammad said he proclaimed that Allah and Yahweh were one. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what he said. So therefore, Yahweh is the central figure because Yahweh is supposed to be God, and God is supposed to be Jesus too. And Allah is one with Yahweh. And here we go again. Yahweh is a Canaanite God.
Let me or put deity. It like that. Are you familiar with the Table of Nations?
I've heard of it, but no, I'm not familiar with it.
Right. So there's a verse in the Bible. I would have to look it up, but basically it says something like, and God divided the nations into, I'm paraphrasing, God divided the nations into 70 and give to each of his sons the Bnei Elohim, so the sons of God, their portion, and Yahweh received his portion. So that's why Yahweh is the God of Israel. Now, if this sentence makes sense, wouldn't that mean that Yahweh is rather the son of God and not God himself?
Well, the whole thing is very confusing. And if you look at what these gods are actually their titles, they're very regional.
Exactly.
Gods. They're not the God of everything.
So
People didn't
to
even
me,
know what everything was. They didn't even know Australia existed. So how are we going to go around on a wooden ark and collect up all the animals if you don't even know the other places where animals exist? So there obviously could not be a world flood. You could not be expected to gather up 8 million animals and shove them on a tiny ark. And so a lot of the things are very regional. Just the idea that Moses is asked to introduce God in quotation marks to the people. Like, you invented the people. Why do you need to be introduced? Why are they worshiping this other thing? How did this other thing
but that's the
get
thing, though.
ahead of you?
Those people, in my view, they are the greatest plagiarists like history has ever seen. They just took a little bit of Egyptian theology, mixed it with Babylonian theology, because I guess they were in the middle of all these people. So they just stole beliefs from all these people. Zoroastrianism, they are the ones who actually believed in like the devil and then like a messiah figure. Before their exposure to these people, there was no concept of a messiah before that. And if you look at the Bible, it's the same story over and over. It's like a martyr, two brothers. The younger one steals the portion of the older one, and then kind of get some kind of 3 days of death or exile or something like that. Jonah being in the whale's stomach for 3 days or whatever. Joseph being in the pit, thrown by his brothers for like 3 days or whatever. Jesus dying for 3 days and then rising again. Um, Abel dying by Cain and then Seth being born kind of represents, you know, Abel being a reincarnation of Abel in a sense, because now he becomes the exalted one or whatever, like the son that's worth of getting any inheritance. So it's all about inheritance and one brother stealing from the other. And I feel like they had to make it that way so that they would have a right to steal land from people that they wanted to steal land from, which is the Canaanites. They didn't like the Canaanites. They had to like brainwash themselves to make it sound like there's nothing wrong with it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, they do that all the time. They, make everyone look like they're not humans so that they can justify enslaving or killing them. So, yeah, they're good at that.
Black students, we need to know our history.
The black history we're being taught in public schools is repetitive.
As a black high school student, I want to learn more about my history in the school books.
We need to update our books.
As black American students, we deserve an accurate depiction of what history truly is.
I want to see myself in these textbooks.
In the public school system, black history is vague.
Why don't the school books ever talk about the Freedmen's Bureau?
I created the workbook for the African American family. This book helps fill in the gaps that the school books don't. Purchase the workbook for the African American family on ourstorypublications.com and use the Cash App, $Our Story Publications.